Hello, welcome. My name's Tim Burbage. Welcome to Tim Burbage Reads, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my experience at Young Adult Literature Con, or YALC, which was this last weekend in London, in Kensington Olympia. It is tied to London Film and Comic Con, LFCC. It's over the weekend, and I thought it was quite interesting. So I'm going to talk about what was there, what I saw, and I did get a couple of books as well. So first things first is YALC is 10 years old. It's been running for 10 years, and it was started, a key driving force in it was Malorie Blackman, the author of Noughts and Crosses. So I brought my copy of Noughts and Crosses with me in case she was there, in case she could sign it, but I didn't see her. They did have, so this is the Penguin special edition, and they had the other books in this style there in the Waterstones booth, but I didn't buy them because I haven't read this first one yet. I'm planning to read it, probably my next book I'm going to read. I'll read it before the end of the year because I have had it a while and not read it yet. But I didn't want to buy the whole series when I hadn't even read the first book yet. But I didn't see her. So there were a few people doing book signings, and I didn't know who they were, and they had a very long queue. They also had some talks, or people could pay to meet people as you would an actor or something like that. So it was interesting. What I noticed about YALC, I'm hopefully going to be putting some footage over the top of this if my editing skills allow me to, but I noticed that from an independent point of view, they did say there was we're going to hear champion independent booksellers. It was very small. There was basically 2 tables next to each other in the corner with very little traffic. I did want to go up and talk to them a bit, but I was dressed as Cogsworth because we went in costume, and I didn't really feel super confident doing that. There wasn't much of a buzz there on that part of the table, on that part of the room, and it wasn't really that buzzing. There were big publishers or publishing houses and box companies and things like that. So Illumicrate were there. I was tempted to go and tell them off about their top 100 fantasy and science fiction list because it's not very good. Hyperion Books were there. Percy Jackson had a stall in there, and that's something that was quite interesting because I believe that Percy Jackson books are young adult. This is Young Adult Literature Con. The majority of books that were there, I wouldn't describe as young adult. I would describe them as romantasy or fantasy or somewhere kind of in between. Maybe with a younger protagonist, but a lot of these books were 400 or 500 pages and not designed for younger readers, I don't believe. Some booths were absolutely heaving, some booths were quiet. Booths really went up, I say booths, tables and displays, really went up and down. One day there was no queue, and then 5 minutes later there was a queue of 50 people and you couldn't get in. There were quite a lot of stalls selling book-adjacent things, knickknacks, bookmarks, magnets, keychains, things like that. There was quite a lot of that in LFCC itself, in the bottom side of LFCC. A lot of it is very small independent retailers who usually sell their stuff off Instagram and Etsy, kind of going there and selling their things. We did buy a few things. There was some book related stuff around the top, but the majority there were publishers, or Illumicrate. There was a locked in box where they had the boxes there from previous months, and you could pay to kind of do a raffle, see what you get, like a tombola style. The books being sold there, the majority of were cheap. I bought 2 books, 2 graphic novels, which would usually be £9 each, I think, and I bought 2 of them for £12. Some signs were £5 for paperbacks, £10 for hardbacks, things like that. They were cheaper. One company just had it's just £1 off what the retail price is, which I thought was a little bit not cheeky because they don't have to sell it cheaper, but it meant that you had to then go and look at the back of every book to then find out how much it was, which slowed down the process and made me not want to buy stuff from them. But We bought 3 books in the end. One for me, one for my son, and one for my daughter. And I'm going to talk about the one that I bought for my daughter first, because that wasn't actually in Young Adult Literature Con. It was just in the Comic-Con bit, which was at the bottom, and then the Yalc was at the top. If you've been to Kensington Olympia, there's like a mezzanine kind of around. But this we bought was Enya and the Jazz Dragon. This is by Maria J. Lima and Inés Barros. Apologies if I said that wrong, but Maria was there, and she was with a man. He might have been Inés, I don't know. But Enya is the first draconic witch in her family, and now she must journey alone to the dragon realm to find her guardian. However, instead of encountering a typical dragon, she discovers a very peculiar one who plays jazz. Yeah, this was really nice. So she kind of sold it to us as a book for 5 to 8 year olds, where you could read it to them when they're 5, and kind of when they're a bit older, they can start reading themselves. My daughter is a fan of Isadora Moon, who is half vampire, half fairy. So this kind of fits that vibe very well. The art, she did sign it, Maria J. Lima. She went, "May this book bring you magic and jazz. Be magical." There's a little signature there. She was really nice. She talked to my daughter a lot, as well as talking to us, which I think was really good. My daughter was very shy, but it's full of amazing colour art. The pages are very vinyl-y, which means it's quite interesting to see how it will keep. But there we go. Lots of art all the way through those. But this is I think this is a good book, and my daughter's excited to read it. Then for my son, I bought Spider-Ham, Great Power, No Responsibility. Join Spider-Ham as he swings through the streets of New York City in this action-packed, hilarious adventure. So this, they had 2 Spider-Ham comics there. They also had a Miles Morales Shockwaves, which we've already read. We bought that at the school book fair, because this is by Scholastic. They had 2 Spider-Ham comics, this one, and one about time travel. I thought the time travel one might be a bit confusing, but in this world, everyone is animals, or are animals. So you've got Black Catfish, which is quite funny because Black Cat is already an animal. You've got the Green Gobbler, who is a turkey. You've got King Pig. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that. It's quite thin, quite light. This is definitely, I think, one he can read himself. But it just looks really funny and really entertaining. And then from that stall, I also bought for myself Captain America: The Ghost Army. This is written by Alan Gratz and illustrated by Brent Schoonover? I don't know. But in this thrilling historical venture set during World War II, Steve Rogers, aka Captain America, and his young sidekick Bucky Barnes encounter a threat like no one they've ever seen. A ghost army. So here, I kind of just got it because it was Captain America. There's the ghosts. I'm looking forward to reading this. But overall, my thoughts were, I was surprised at how romantic-y heavy Yalc was on the actual day, but everyone was super friendly and super nice. I did notice as well, the website is horrendous to figure out how it works. We were there with my friend and she bought a Yalc priority ticket, so she had to go through a special queue which had no one in it, and she got a wristband that did nothing. We bought a family ticket because it was me, my wife and my 2 kids, and there wasn't a family Yalc priority ticket, so we didn't get a wristband. And at the gate I was like, "Oh, so can we go to Yalc?" And the woman was like, "I don't know, I don't think so." And I was like, "Well, there was no way for us to get a Yalc ticket with a family ticket." And she went like, "Oh, I don't really know, just go in and see what you get." And you could just walk upstairs and it was there. So I don't know why that happened. The website itself is really hard to navigate and it doesn't tell you anything, and it's very outdated. So hopefully they do something with the website, because it was same with LFCC as well. The website was rough. compared to MCM, who have a much more up-to-date website where you can actually see what's going on, see what you're paying for, see what's going to be there, work out the logistics, things like that. But no, so that was my experience of YALC, Young Adult Literature Con. In terms of the whole convention itself, LFCC, there was loads of Doctor Who stuff, which I really liked. There was so much Doctor Who cosplay. It almost felt like a Doctor Who convention. It's much smaller than MCM Comic Con, which is good because you're not kind of packed in like sardines and overwhelmed, and the majority of people there work for very small businesses or their own businesses, so it's much more engaging rather than someone who's just paid to be there by a big conglomerate just to sell you Funko Pops. A lot of it was kind of handmade jewellery and art and things like that, which I really like. So I liked the fact that it was smaller, but I was talking to my wife afterwards and she said it was missing that buzz of like, oh my goodness, look at that costume. Oh my goodness, look at that costume. Oh wow, oh wow. MCM has that buzz of just having more people and it being like everyone just being together. And with MCM, even though it's much busier, there is like a whole hall they leave empty for people to go and update their costumes and make sure it's all fitted. But also if you just want a bit of a break from the buzz and the noise, you can do that quite easily. And LFCC, there wasn't that so much. You just kind of go around the edges, and there were spaces to sit down on the floor and eat your lunch and all that kind of thing. So if you're, for your first convention, I think it's good. If you like, especially if you like Doctor Who, they had so much Doctor Who stuff there. They did have like a special Doctor Who day kind of thing with loads of panels based around Doctor Who. I don't know. I wonder what it would be like if it didn't have that. But if you like seeing a fair amount of cosplay, but nothing too extravagant, and seeing all the small booths and small shops of people making their own art and jewellery, and some people there were selling books, like we got, I'd recommend it. Yeah, so there we go. That was my experience at LFCC and Young Adult Literature Con, YALC, terrible name, and I'll see you in the next one. Now, get out of my house!